So we took a little break. Carrie had a pretty profound emotional response, and it's good to see. But we're giving him a little break because when you get to sit back and come from a place of gratitude and understand just how great life is, it is emotional. And I mean, even for me sitting here, because you and I have spent a lot of time with Carrie. I mean, it's emotional to see him emotional, and it's something that you've taught us very, very well. And and you just kind of mentioned it. You sit there and it's like you have two options as a leader, right? You can pave the way, and you can climb the ladder to success. And when you climb the ladder, you can pull the ladder up behind you, or you can turn around and grab somebody's hand and pull them up with you. And I know for a fact, and we were just talking about it, that's exactly what you've done for me and exactly what you've done for my family. And I tell you all the time how grateful I am for that. And that's something that, Carrie's experiencing right now. And as we're on that topic, I think it's a good thing to talk about your views on leadership and your view and your overall outlook on what your optimal outcome is for every single coach that you have and every client that you have.
That's right. So we've talked a little bit, obviously, on the client side and how we want to best serve them, how we want to positively impact their lives, and they all become family, but no more so than the coaching staff, right? The coaching staff is who we are, and I'm so very, very proud of everyone on this coaching staff and watching how their lives have changed through their journey with Rise. You saw how Carrie thought about it when you start bringing up, and I'm gonna try to hold it together, but it's
Yeah.
tough, man. I mean, when you look at somebody who talks about they didn't have joy in their life,
Yeah.
right? That obviously we have happiness from time to time, but that's fleeting. But until you find your true purpose, you're not going to have joy. But when you see somebody that is a client and shares your core values and has that love of people that, maybe they can't even describe it to you, but it's so evident in the way that they carry themselves and the way that they live life. When you see that, you have to attach that to what you do. If you're a good leader, a good inside of business specifically, but really any part of life. And so, in Carrie's specific situation, like it touched me so much to recognize that, maybe he wasn't where he wanted to be in life. Maybe, especially, and he spoke a little bit about the dynamic inside of his household, right? And I know his family personally. His dad loves him tremendously, but inside of that culture, things are a little bit different. So it may just be on his end, perspective's reality. We don't know what his dad's really thinking, right?
Yeah.
But I have no doubt that seeing his son go through a challenging portion of life, which all young men do, and trying to find their way. And you can help them some, but you can't point them the exact direction, right? That's part of coming into manhood and figuring out your place in the world and where you're meant to be. And I have no doubts at all in my mind that he now and everyone around Kerry is able to look at him, see that he is where he is meant to be, that he is at a portion in life that he can now enrich so many lives, right? And that's from everyone he works with, including his family, including his fiance. He talked about, I didn't know what I was going to do. Now he's buying a house, a beautiful house,
Yeah.
right? And I know there was a little bit of a distance between him and his girl trying to figure out how we can, move into the same area. He was able to provide that. He's able to provide a lot. And so how he views himself and how those closest to him who love him infinitely are able to view him differently because he found what he is meant to do and why he was put on this earth. And that is to serve others. Now, there was nothing wrong with HVAC and the things that he did before that, but that didn't bring him joy. And that was not the best use of his talents. But when you come in and you see somebody like that and you say, no, 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 I can see what you can't see yet, right? And that's the Rise way as a whole. That's all of our admin staff. We are able to see in others, whether it be a client or a coach, what they cannot currently see inside themselves that we know is there. And then to help them move in that direction in a way of, no, 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 I promise this is where you're meant to be. You have every skill set that is required to be the best at this thing, and then be able to motivate and help them get there. Like there is no better feeling in this world. And when you set up a leadership structure, like you said, of you have two options. When you climb the ladder, You can either go, ha, fantastic, and pull the ladder up behind you and best of luck, guys, right? Or you can go, that ladder will never move. I will reinforce it at every chance I get. And everyone who is deserving, that loves people and is about what we're about, will climb that ladder and they will change their life and they will have a ripple effect and eventually change the world. And we truly believe that. And that is how our entire leadership structure is set up. And it trickles down from the top of our admin staff into our head coaches, into our day-to-day points of contact that we call assistant coaches, and into our clients. And there is nothing more that can be said about how we are differently set up than every other person in this industry.
I agree. And it actually goes, now that I sit down and I think about it, it actually goes one step further, right? Because undoubtedly, we leave the ladder down. We, reach down, grab everybody, pull them up as much as we can. But something that I have personally experienced within this company versus every other company that I've been in is even if they fall back down, you drop the ladder back down. You bring them up. And I was asked a question, and it's a really good question, and it's been going back and forth in my mind for probably about 2 weeks, right? And it's a profound question because the word is used very often, like the word love. And I was asked, how do you define love? It's like, wow.
Ooh.
How do you answer that question? Because it's to me personally, it depends, right? And what I landed on is love is loyalty through inconvenience, right? Loving somebody who has everything together is easy, right? Or saying that you love them when everything is together is so easy. But when you are put in the most inconvenient of all situations, to stay steadfast shows it. And I mean, we could go a million different routes here, but the most stunning example of love that I have ever felt was when everybody had the opportunity to leave me and they didn't. And that is a personal thank you to you and to my wife, because I'd never experienced it before. Everybody, they'll tell you they love you. I love you. Yeah, cool. But when it is extremely inconvenient to stay loyal to somebody is when you actually get to show them what unconditional love is. So when I was posed with that question, I was like, man, love is responsibility. Love is integrity. Love is showing up when you're supposed to show up. Love is this, love is that. Those are all under optimal situations. Love is literally loyalty when it's inconvenient. And that is something that you pride yourself on, which in turn makes everybody in this company pride themselves on it. Because when you look at the way we treat our clients, they fall a lot, right?
Yeah, everyone.
Everything we do and everything that we teach, it's hard. It's a culture shock. It's not something that is inherent in anybody, right? And then when you look at the coaching staff, they don't typically come to Rise because they have to like we're all put together.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even the most put together people, because we have like 4 or 5 nurses on staff.
That's right.
They're put together.
Oh, yeah.
Like they have but there is no joy. And in those moments when they want to make the change, it's always hard and it's always inconvenient. It's inconvenience like for the leadership team, so on and so forth. There's a certain level of loyalty to our clients, to our coaches, that can only be seen and felt if you're a part of the system. And I think that it's something that we should note and something that I wanted to bring up, because we love people not only at their best. We choose to love them when they are at their worst. And I promise you guys, rock bottom has a basement. And even in those moments, you will only ever receive love from this group, from the admin team, from the executive leadership team, from your coaches, from your assistant coaches. There will never be a time that you will be chastised for any mistake that you make, you will be educated, you will learn, and you will be loved. And I think that ultimately that is what makes us successful, and ultimately how we end up grooming leaders.
Yes.
And I wanted to make sure that I said that because we did talk about, extending the ladder, pulling them up, so on and so forth. But I think it goes deeper when everybody understands, like, you're going to climb the ladder. It's inevitable. You will make it. And it's almost just as inevitable that you will fall. And we will come back. We will pick you up. We will dust you off. We will look at the complex problem that caused that thing. And just like we do with everything else, we will find a way to solve that complex problem and bring you back to where you deserve to be.
That's right. One of the things I wanted to touch on is, anybody listening, we have a very large staff and we're always growing, and we have 36 coaches. And outside looking in, you may go, well, how do I find the right coach for me? Or how do I pick the coach? Do they pick the coach? That sort of thing. And one of the things that I really wanted to touch on is every single coach that is working for us, that will ever work for us, did not fall into that position. They did not climb down the mountain to that position. They just took themselves from where they are and painstakingly climbed that ladder. They've been through real life experiences. They've been through real hardships. So they understand how difficult life can be. And they climbed into the position that they are in. So they have the life experience now to go, I understand and I hear you. The thing that you are going through, I promise I have been through something similar and I made it. And you too will make it. It will not be linear. It never is. It will not necessarily be the easiest thing you've ever done, but I can promise you I have been there and it is worth it. And you will get where you are going because I have the life experiences to help you get there beyond the education system. And when you are able to integrate real world life experiences of life, not just fitness stuff, of life, and how difficult that can be, and then you pair it with a perfect education system, that is a recipe for success for everyone.
Absolutely. And to draw a parallel, for anybody who's listening that doesn't understand, I can give you a real world parallel. When you go to become a doctor, there's theory, which is your education, and then there's practical, which is your residency, right? So it is the same setup here. Like, yes, we're going to educate you. We can teach you all the stuff and things. But there is the other side of the coin that if you have not gone through practical lived experience, you are missing one of the greatest assets that you could possibly have, which is empathy.
Yes.
So with our coaching staff, and it will always be this way, whatever subset of culture or client base that you are going to be practicing with, you've had to have lived that situation. You have had to make the decision to change. You've had to educate yourself while you get beat up as you're changing, because that's how this life works.
That's right.
You will always have to have the theory and the practical so that you can be on the level of the clients that we have, so that you can help them.
That's right.